Hello, everyone. Welcome to the English podcast.
Today, we're looking into a really captivating story called The Lighthouse at Willow Creek.
Yeah, and it's not just a story, is it? It's almost like a counter-narrative to how we usually think about finding ourselves.
Exactly. It kind of suggests that discovery might start not by searching, but by disappearing, in a way.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to unpack this, pull out some of the insights, and talk about what it really means to, find your way back to yourself.
Right. And our mission here is to really look at how the story uses these specific details, these symbols,
Like the lighthouse itself.
precisely, to get across these pretty deep messages about healing and purpose and this idea of being found.
And how Maya's journey, this central character, sort of echoes that universal feeling of being lost that, well, I think we all feel sometimes.
Absolutely. And how does this whole lighthouse concept actually guide us? That's what we want to explore.
Okay, so let's start with Maya. She's our protagonist, 29, a photojournalist. And she feels this pull towards Willow Creek, a place that's quiet, forgotten, kind of off the map.
Not the usual tourist spot, then.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
And the trigger, the thing that gets her there, is this line from her late grandfather's journal. It's quite haunting, actually.
What does it say?
It says, "There's a lighthouse by the edge of Willow Creek where time stands still and people disappear only to find themselves again."
Wow. Okay. Disappear to find themselves again.
Yeah, and just that line makes her pack her camera, her notebook, and just go to the edge of nowhere, as she thinks of it.
It's fascinating, isn't it? How just a few words, almost like a myth from someone she loved, can be such a powerful catalyst. And that specific idea, disappearing to find yourself, it really pushes against the usual self-help narrative,
It does. It's not about getting lost in a bad way.
No, it suggests that maybe the path starts by stepping away from everything familiar into a place that feels, well, forgotten, like Willow Creek.
So Maya gets there,
Yeah.
and it is, just like the journal said, sleepy, quiet. But the lighthouse, it's real, tall, weathered, standing there against the elements.
Solid, tangible.
Very.
Yeah.
But then there's this sign on the door, big, clear letters, closed, do not enter.
Ah, the classic obstacle.
Right. And she just pushes past it, ignores the warning. What do you think this story's doing there?
No, it's significant, isn't it? It's not just her being curious. It feels like a deliberate choice.
Yeah.
Like maybe the story is saying that real insight, the important stuff, sometimes lies just beyond the rules, beyond our comfort zone.
One of the things we're told not to look at.
Exactly. And then she goes inside, dusty, dim.
Freaking stairs going up.
Yeah, that climb. It's almost like the effort you have to put in, right? The struggle involved in actually getting to that deeper truth about yourself. It's not easy.
Definitely not. And then she gets to the top. And this is where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
It's a small room, circular. And it's filled with light, just bathed in light.
But you said no windows.
No windows at all. The light seems to come from nowhere, or maybe everywhere, within the room itself.
Huh. That's a powerful image, like an internal source of illumination.
Totally. And in the middle of the room, there's just a chair. And on a pedestal, a single book.
Just one book?
Just one. She opens it, and the first words are, "Welcome, Maya."
Whoa, okay, so it knows her.
It knows her,
Uh-huh.
and then it says, "You're here because you're lost. But this place remembers who you are."
This place remembers who you are. That hits hard.
Right.
It's like saying your true self isn't actually gone. It's just
Right.
buried, obscured, waiting to be recalled.
Yep.
And the room creating its own light, the book, knowing her name. It's all pointing inward, isn't it? It's suggesting the wisdom is already in her.
Yeah, exactly. And then the book starts turning its own pages.
Okay, getting a bit magical now.
A little. But it's not showing her, like, the future or random past events. It says it's showing her truth.
Her truth, what does that look like?
Images, moments. Her parents laughing. A picture of herself smiling as a kid. A smile she hadn't seen on her own face in years.
Ah.
It specifically shows her how she'd been running. Running from grief. Running from, failures or perceived failures. Running from dreams she was scared to actually pursue. Basically, how she buried her own creativity under all the everyday pressure.
Right, the deadlines, the busyness, the noise. That's so relatable.
Isn't it? The lighthouse, or this book, it was essentially bringing back her core self, her essence.
And it's crucial that it's framed as her truth, not just memories. It's like an intervention, a targeted revelation of what she'd hidden away.
Yeah.
The lighthouse is acting like this perfect mirror or maybe a lens, just cutting through all the static to show her what's fundamentally her.
So just as she's kind of reeling from all this, she sees something else. Under the pedestal where the book was,
What was it?
a letter. Small, faded, handwritten,
Yeah.
and the signature is clear as day. To Maya from Grandpa.
Her grandfather, the one who wrote the journal.
The very same one. And the letter reveals he'd been there too.
Yeah.
Stood in that exact same room at her age, apparently.
Wow.
And he remembered who he was, just like she was doing. It wasn't just her journey.
That adds a whole other layer, doesn't it? It's not just a personal discovery, it's intergenerational.
Yeah.
Like maybe feeling lost is something that echoes down through families, but maybe the path back. Maybe that's inherited too, like a kind of wisdom passed down. It validates her experience completely.
And his letter gives her this message, this core idea, he writes. We all get lost, Maya, sometimes in noise, sometimes in silence. But always remember, you are not the things you've done or the places you failed. You are the light that never needed saving. Go shine. The world needs it.
The light that never needed saving. That's really something.
Isn't it? And her reaction isn't more sadness. It's but tears of release. She realizes it's the first time in years she doesn't actually feel sad.
That's a powerful reframe. It basically says, look, the setbacks, the failures, they don't define you. They don't even diminish you.
Right.
Your core light is inherent. It was never broken. It never needed rescuing by anyone or anything else. You just needed to remember it.
Yeah.
And that call to go shine, it's not just feel-good advice. It sounds like an imperative, doesn't it? Like, now that you remember who you are, go be that. Bring that light out.
So she leaves the lighthouse, leaves Willow Creek, goes back to the city. And she's changed, fundamentally.
What does she do?
Well, she was a photojournalist, right? Capturing images. Now, she starts her own storytelling blog.
Storytelling.
Not just photos, but stories of real people, real journeys. Like she's connecting on a different level now.
That makes perfect sense. She went from capturing static moments to exploring dynamic journeys. It reflects her own rediscovered sort of essence, her own flow.
Totally. And she does tell people about the lighthouse, tries to share what happened.
Can they find it?
Nope. The story says no one ever found it again.
Right. And that's key, isn't it? It underlines the whole point.
Which is?
That if you're looking for it on a map, you're looking in the wrong place. It wasn't about the physical location.
So the story wraps up with this idea.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't find the lighthouse on a map. You find it when you truly start looking for yourself.
Exactly. It nails the message. The lighthouse is symbolic. It's that internal space, that moment of clarity, that realization.
It's an inside job, basically.
Completely. The story cleverly redirects us from an external quest to an internal one. It's not about finding a magical place out there. It's about finding that clarity within yourself.
So this deep dives into the lighthouse at Willow Creek. It really shows us Maya remembering who she truly is. And it's such a powerful reminder, I think, that sometimes feeling lost is actually the start of finding your way.
Right. When you step off the known path.
Yeah. And that the biggest truths might be waiting in those places we're told not to go. Or maybe the places inside ourselves we've marked as closed.
Which really brings up a question for you listening right now. If the lighthouse isn't on a map, what are the lighthouses in your life?
Good question.
What experiences or moments or people maybe have been like that clear lens for you, helping you remember your own truth?
Or just nudged you to start looking inward.
Exactly. And how can you lean into that really radical idea that you are the light that never needed saving, that you're already whole?
And if you embrace that, how might you go shine, like the grandfather said, in your own unique way, right where you are now?
Something to think about.
So first up is Maya. She turns up at this place, Willow Creek. All she has is her camera and an old journal. Her grandfather mentioned it, something poetic about a lighthouse there. That's the mystery pulling her in. And Willow Creek itself. Sounds like stepping back in time, doesn't it? Cobbled paths, old houses, quiet, like it's holding its breath. So Maya gets to the lighthouse, a big sign. Closed, unsafe, do not enter. Standard stuff. But the story says she feels this pull. She has to go inside. And when she's in, wow. Groaning stairs, dust dancing in the light, classic spooky lighthouse vibes almost. But here's the thing. As she climbs higher, the air gets warmer, like the place knew she was coming, like it was waiting. Then, right at the top, just one book, on a pedestal, nothing else. She opens it, and the first line, "Welcome, Maya," just like that. And that's when it hits her. This story, it wasn't hers to, tell anymore. It was hers to remember.
Yeah, what's really fascinating there is that sense of almost preordained discovery. It feels like destiny or maybe some kind of inherited memory was literally guiding her to that exact spot, that exact book, that exact moment of remembering.
Inherited memory.
Yeah,
That is intriguing. So it's less about her finding something new and more about uncovering something already within her.
exactly. It suggests that maybe some core parts of who we are aren't just built up by life experiences. Maybe they're inherent. They're just sort of dormant, waiting for the right trigger to wake them up. It makes you think about, deeper connections, maybe things we all share but experience personally.
Right? Being attuned to those deeper currents rather than just pushing forward. And that idea, it carries over really well into our second story, doesn't it? Arian's story. He finds this old bookstore completely by accident. Stories for the soul. And the weird thing, it's not on any map. It just appeared. You could almost smell it from the description, can't you? Old paper, cinnamon tea, that quiet feeling of forgotten things. So he goes in. There's this frail old man there. Doesn't say a word, just points Arian towards this dusty shelf. Arian follows this feeling, really. Finds a small book, leather-bound, no title. He opens it up, and well, it's stunning. It's his own life inside, his childhood laughs, his mom's lullaby, the day he left home. It's all there. And the last page, it delivers this powerful message. You didn't come here to buy a book. You came to remember who you were before the world told you who to be.
Wow.
Yeah.
And linking those two, I mean, it's striking, isn't it? Both Maya and Arian find this profound self-realization, but not because they were like actively searching in a conventional way. It happens through these almost fated moments, these encounters that trigger something internal, this remembering of who they fundamentally are. It sort of ties into ideas about how we build our sense of self through stories, but here the stories aren't new ones we're telling, they're old ones surfacing.
So it's less about actively searching outwards and more about being open to these revelations from within, or maybe from unexpected places.
It really does suggest that, doesn't it? That maybe the journey isn't always about adding layers, but sometimes about peeling them back to find what was there all along.
So thinking about these stories together, these echoes of memory, what does it all mean? It seems to suggest that maybe the deepest insights, the real core of who we are, aren't things we find by trying hard. They're revealed, sometimes in the weirdest places, from sources we'd long forgotten about, like finding breadcrumbs back to yourself.
And that brings up a really important question, I think. Are these just beautiful, captivating stories, fantastical tales, or do they hint at something more universal about self-discovery? That maybe our own histories, our identities are just waiting to be remembered when the time is right.
Makes you think, doesn't it? Consider this. What echoes of memory might be waiting for you? Maybe hidden in plain sight somewhere, pulling you towards a path or a truth you were always meant to remember.